Yes, sir. What's up, boys? In this video, we're going to be talking about some Los Angeles Lakers free agency news and trade rumors. So a couple interesting things happened over the weekend. We had some news break. We had a couple trades with the Lakers. We had some free agency news. So we're going to get straight into that. Make sure you like the video. Subscribe to the channel. I drop new NBA videos every week, and we're doing a live stream during the NBA draft on Wednesday. The stream should be up by 6:30 or 7 p.m. Eastern time. The draft starts at 7 p.m. Eastern time, so make sure you guys come through and say what's up. Anyways, let's get into it. So the news broke. There's 3 news items that I'm going to cover. So first news that I'm going to cover is the Dennis Schroder trade. So the Lakers have traded for Dennis Schroder from the Oklahoma City Thunder. Dennis Schroder is a point guard. He was coming off the bench for OKC last year. He was a 6th Man of the Year candidate after having one of his best seasons of his career, if not his most complete season. He averaged about 38% from 3. During the playoffs, he really shit the bed. He didn't play as well. He shot about 28% from 3, and all his numbers were down overall. He didn't play as well in the playoffs as he did during the regular season. But as I said, during the regular season, Dennis Schroder was a 6th Man of the Year candidate. He ended up losing to Montrezl Harrell, but that's just it is what it is. So he was traded to the Lakers in exchange for Danny Green and the Lakers' first-round pick in this year's draft. So Danny Green kind of shit the bed in the playoffs as well. He wasn't having a great shooting performance. He was shooting 33% in the playoffs, 35% in the regular season. So with Danny Green, you expect more so 40%. With the Raptors in the year before, he shot about 45%. So he was kind of a letdown for the Lakers, making $15 million per year. You kind of need a bit more. But in terms of value, I think the Thunder got more value in this trade because they got a first-round pick and they got Danny Green. And the Lakers got Dennis Schroder. So for Dennis Schroder, it was a great pickup for the Lakers because they need secondary playmaking. And as I'm going to get into news later, they're going to need to replace Rondo's minutes, as Rondo is not going to be with the Lakers this season, but I'll explain that later. So they have someone to replace Rondo's minutes in Dennis Schroder. He's a guy that might not be able to play as well as playoff Rondo did, but can definitely slide into that role and fix and replace most of his minutes, if not most of his production. So it's a pretty good upgrade, not an upgrade, but a pretty good replacement. I think it's a better trade for the Thunder because they got a first-round pick out the trade and they got Danny Green. You can definitely flip Danny Green in the future, maybe closer towards the trade deadline, to a contending team for at least 2 second-round picks. If not a first-round pick, a late first-round pick. So Danny Green will get you a late first-round pick or 2 second-round picks in addition to the first-round pick that you got from the Lakers. So I think it was a great haul for the Thunder, and I also think it was a great trade for the Lakers because it gives them that replacement for Rondo that they're going to need, as Rondo has recently decided to opt out of his contract with the Lakers. He had a player option for this coming season, 2020-21. And he's decided to opt out to become a free agent in this year's free agency. So reports are that the Lakers will not be retaining him, which is why they got Dennis Schroder to replace his minutes. And the reports are that teams interested in Rondo include the Clippers and the Hawks. So the Clippers are interested in Rondo because they need a playmaker. Last year, last year in the playoffs, their offense got very stagnant. We had a lot of iso ball, a lot of Kawhi and Paul George trying to carry the team, forcing up tough shots. They didn't have a real point guard to set plays up for them, and they're not really natural playmakers. They're scorers. So Rondo makes a lot of sense for them. He's a great fit there. He can do some playmaking for them, and we all seen playoff Rondo, how well he plays. Rondo's going to be a big loss for the Lakers in the playoffs, but we'll see how Schroder can perform. Maybe playing alongside stars like LeBron and Anthony Davis can raise his level. As I told you guys, he's a 6th Man of the Year candidate. But unlike Lou Williams, he's not a complete liability on defense. He actually has pretty average defense, league average defense. So he's a bit better than Lou Williams in that sense. Now, the Hawks are also interested in Rajon Rondo, and that makes sense because the Hawks need a backup point guard to play minutes when Trae Young comes off the floor. Last year, when Trae Young came off the floor, before the Hawks made the trade for Jeff Teague, the team was an absolute shit show. Whenever the fuck Trae Young would come off the floor, the team would not get any offensive buckets going. The offense became very stagnant, and Trae Young would have to come back on the floor. And the thing with Trae Young, when Trae Young's on the floor, he's a defensive liability. So guys have to cover up for him on defense. So it's just kind of tough because when he's not on the floor, they need his offense and playmaking. When he is on the floor, he's a defensive liability. So Trae Young's kind of a guy where you have to build a team around his weaknesses and his strengths. Rajon Rondo is a good fit with that team because when Trae Young comes off the floor, Rajon Rondo could slide right in, facilitate the offense, run some plays, get some dimes as he's known to do, and pretty much take care of that team. So moving on, more news, more Lakers news. So it came out that Wesley Matthews from the Bucks is opting out of his contract to become a free agent. And the rumors are that the Los Angeles Lakers are going to sign Wesley Matthews in free agency to replace Danny Green's minutes. So Wesley Matthews is a career 38% three-point shooter. He shot 38% last year, actually shot 40% in the playoffs. So he was shooting the way we expect Danny Green to be shooting. So he actually had a good playoffs. Wesley Matthews, as I said, 40% three-point shooter. He's a vet in this league, and I think that he's a good replacement for Danny Green. Guys like Wesley Matthews and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope are great fits around LeBron and Anthony Davis because they spread the floor. They're league average defenders, so they're not liabilities on defense, and they can hit three-point shots at a very high rate. So that's pretty much all the news for the Lakers right now. We had a lot of news for a whole bunch of teams over the weekend, and today the trade moratorium has been lifted. So for today, we're going to see the first trades in the NBA for like months now. We haven't seen any trades since maybe like February or March. So we're going to see our first trades today. Going to have more news about the Lakers and other teams as the week goes on. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel for more Lakers news and regular NBA news. All right, peace.